Hello and welcome to Fools Rush In STFC Fan Chat, your weekly episode where we discuss everything going on at SN1. And we can announce the title of this episode actually on the episode because we've just been chatting off air with our special guest Liam from Lower League Look, who is also a Bradford City fan. And the chant "shit rockin' Robin" has offended him almost as much as the result of Saturday's game hurt. Also joining us today is Ben and Ned. How are you, gents?
All good, thanks.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Welcome aboard, Liam. So tell us, what exactly about the "shit rockin' Robin" chant upset you so much?
Have you seen your mascot? Right. The thing is, you said it almost upset me as much. It did. It upset me more. Like, I heard it. I could just hear them chanting it, and I was looking. I was like, "Oh, they must have a really good mascot." So I googled "Rockin' Robin" Swindon, and it looks like a cross between a Futurama character and Angry Bird. Like, he's not. He don't look like a Robin. I don't know what he's got his 3 eyebrows for, but yeah, I tell you something. Him and Billy Bantam, Billy will knock him out. That's right. He looks flat. He looks 2D. How does a mascot look 2D? Anyway, yeah, no, that offended me more than the game. The result didn't sit well with me, but performance-wise, I can't fault us. A couple of performances that maybe weren't great from our players, but the way we played in that game, I went into that for a long time. I think we've gone into games quite reserved and, expecting the worst. And Saturday I went in thinking, if we could squeeze a draw, we could have at any point taken that game. It could have been 3-4-5 all that game. But unfortunately, you've got that long-haired. We won't get into it.
Well, we'll touch on McCurdy a little bit later, if that's okay.
Yeah, go on then.
Well, listen, let's, as we normally do, reflect on the weekend's action from the beginning. And I've had a couple of messages from regular panelists, Rich and from Joe, who were there but couldn't make it tonight. I'm interested, Liam, to see how your opinion overall differs from these. So I'll just read these out quickly. So Rich said, my thoughts on Saturday was that we started very slow, weren't in control in the early goings. They could have scored 3 or 4, but Jojo saves us. Just before their goal, we settled into the game, but switched off for a split second. We responded in the best way possible. Second half, we were much like we have been in a lot of our away games this season. I knew when they hit the crossbar twice inside a minute, it wasn't going to be their day. Funny when Craig messaged the group saying, Bradford were due a goal, I actually muted the group. Because it's his superstition, if you don't take your chances, likelihood you won't win the game. We had the upper hand in the dying minutes, and it was an incredible atmosphere. The game could have gone either way. You can see how improved Bradford are, and they will definitely help teams out in the promotion race, as they have 7 of the current top 8 in their last 10 games. Hopefully they can replicate it and get 6 points out of 6. What? That doesn't make sense, Rich. And get 6 points out of 6 tomorrow. Rich, that's poor. This is why I should proofread before I read these. Up until then, Rich, it was going very well. Joe also messaged in and said, if you want my tale of the game, they battered us for 20 minutes. We then battled hard and defended well against a physical team. 3 points probably was a robbery, but we'll take it. Reed was man of the match.
It's hard to disagree on that. I don't think we only battered for 20 minutes. I think it was strange. The first 20 minutes was all us. But then it was like you had a 10-minute window, then we had a 10-minute window, and it was back and forth like that. And it was really strange to watch because the one thing that we seem to struggle with, and again it proved it Saturday, we go 1-0 up and we don't know what to do. And in most games when we've gone 1-0 up this season, we've conceded. And that's why we've drawn so many games, won all this season. I think we've drawn 14 or 15 games.
We said that a lot, particularly in the first half of the season, didn't we, about Swindon as well?
Yeah.
And we've spoken a lot this year about this mythical plan B, plan C thing. And only in recent weeks has that started coming into fruition that we seem to be able to adapt to it.
We didn't seem to have a plan B or C earlier this season, but we've changed manager, and the difference is night and day. To be able to, I think the exciting thing for me is we saw the performances that this same team were putting in before Mark Hughes came in, and to see him get these performances out of these players, it makes you wonder what he's going to do when he's got his own players in front of him. And I actually think with how we've played, if we can continue that, we'll get some results in the next few games. We've got Forest Green on Saturday, and for me, at the minute, Forest Green are one of the most out of form teams in the league.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They're there for the taking, and it would be so typical of us to have gone on the run that we've gone on. I think we've lost 5 in a row now, 6 in a row possibly. It'd be typical of us to go to top of the league and turn them over. I mean, you guys were 3rd earlier in the season when we came to you, and big Theo Robinson, who I know you guys know quite well. Boys, it's his only shot on target this year.
He's useless.
No, it's not.
Player.
Do you know, God loves a tryer. My missus, my missus, she loves him, and I always say to her, look, he's a tryer, and for us at this stage, with what we're in and the issues we've gone in, we just needed players that were willing to die for the shirt, and he will die for the shirt. Is he the best footballer? No, he's not the best footballer, but unfortunately, he's what we've got. So, I agree to an extent that. You guys did defend well, but the fact that you had to defend well against us is a testament to where we've been and where we are now, I suppose, because we weren't being that team up until recently. It's nice to hear that you had to defend.
Ned, from a Swindon perspective, obviously it's a lot better than it could have been, and the fact that we've managed to steal the 3 points, if you like, is a good sign for us.
Yeah. I mean, that's the sign of a good team, really, isn't it? But I mean, I just want to sort of go on with the description of the game. My analogies. That first, I mean, I didn't know whether it was Bradford playing brilliantly or whether it was just us. Just seemed like we never played with each other before. But I put in a group chat after 15-20 minutes. I said, oh my God, this is bloody awful. Looks like we've never played with each other before. But yeah, honestly, I really thought Bradford were really good. Honestly, I mean, it's because not only did, all their players were full of running, it was, all the players were physical as well. I mean, they're so I mean, it's just, you don't often see that. Do you know what I mean? It's, if they're big bruisers, it's usually just lump it and, push everyone out the way, or, all the dark arts of football. But, they just seem to look like a team that should be up in the top 6. And yeah, I mean, if it's all right, if I could just ask Liam a couple of questions, and that's all right. Callum Cook, does he play like that week in, week out? I thought he had a really good game.
Callum Cook has the potential to be the best player in this league by a long, long way. Unfortunately, this season, for whatever reason, like I say, Derek Adams was the manager. It just didn't work, and that Callum Cook from Saturday is the one that we've been crying out for. Saturday was the first time we've seen him this season, or maybe a couple of games at the beginning of the season, but we've not seen him for a long time. But he's genuinely, he can control the game. He's kind of like a Paul Scholes in that way, where he doesn't need to do a lot of running. He can just pick the ball up and he can control the game from a spot. So yeah, no, Callum Cook. I'm glad you picked out Callum Cook, because for me, yeah, he was up there with.
Yeah, absolutely. And because when we listened to your Twitter space, when Fifey took part and Ben, I mean, it was mentioned on there that Alex Gilliard was going to be the sort of star of the show. But I think he was shadowed by Gareth Evans, Callum Cook, as he said. I think Jan Songo had an absolutely incredible performance as well. He was so unlucky not to score that header. I just thought they looked an absolutely brilliant side. There's no way in this planet we deserve to get 3 points in that game. I know that we started to come into the game in the last 15, 20 minutes possibly, but we should have been several goals down by that point. But you know, it is where it is.
I mean,
and
we all thought Gilead would be. Gilead's been for the last 3-4 weeks the most consistent performer, and the three players you just named there, Gareth Evans, Callum Cook, Jan Songo. Gareth Evans hasn't played since I think early November, maybe earlier than that. Callum Cook hasn't put in a performance, and Songo's not been great. So if you'd have asked me to pick three players that would overshadow Alex Gilead, they'd have been bottom of my list. The thing with Gareth Evans is I've got a lot of time for Gareth Evans. Gareth Evans this is his second time with us. He played with us up until 2009. And in 2009, we were in a worse situation than we are now. We were sort of around the position that like Carlisle are in. We were looking at going down. It was not looking great. And we played Stockport, and Gareth Evans scored a last gasp winner against Stockport, and that seemed to be a catalyst for us. So for me, I'm like, he kept us in the Football League. He's been booed off the pitch this season. He's been booed onto the pitch this season. And on Saturday, he just seemed to have that freedom. And I mean, we've got Andy Cook up front, and Andy Cook's a bully as far as a forward's concerned. He is a big bruising forward, and Gareth Evans bullied him out of the way to score the goal. And like when I saw him do it, I was like, that's what we need. We need that. We need Gareth Evans in that vein of form and that determination, because we've relied on Andy Cook all season, and you know, we needed that second person. We've never had two fit strikers, like two first choice fit strikers. Lee Angle was injured, then Cook got injured when Angle came back. Cook came back and Angle went out injured again. So we've never had that pairing solidly. But yeah, no, I agree. I think we could have been 3 or 4 at the same time. We could have been 3 or 4 down if it hadn't been for Songo. Bass pulled off some phenomenal saves. But then, you know, the mistake at the very end cost us it. And, you know, that's the difference between the top of the league and where we are. You get those opportunities and you take them.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to put a massive shout out for Frenchie as well, because I've not been his biggest fan historically, but when he come on, he
I don't
really
think
steadied the
anyone
ship.
on this podcast has been his biggest fan historically.
No.
But yeah, I mean, he seemed to be that the you know, I suppose you can argue that Cooper has been quite vocal at the back, but it seemed to be just to organise, you know, everything, that experienced head at the back. You know, I'm not sure whether he was marking Andy Cook or not, but you know, it was good. I was saying to the missus, actually, I was saying, you know, when Frenchie come on, I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake, you know, what's going on here? We conceded, we've waved the white flag, we've brought on Frenchie, but no, I mean, fair play, he did a great job. But yeah, Ben.
Bowdry of old. It was Bowdry of old a couple of years ago under Wellens. That's what we got. So it was good.
So you guys had Wellens, didn't you? I forgot that.
Yeah, we loved at the time. Loved him.
He came for the job at ours. He was at the game 2 days before Mark Hughes was unveiled. He was at the game apparently. So he was a front runner for the job, but you know, never got it. And I don't really think anyone can tell me that we've made a bad decision in terms of manager. I mean, well, time will tell.
Yeah.
We've got to give him time. We at the minute.
It's a 50-50. You've made a 50-50 shout. It's going to go one of two ways. To be honest with you.
There's no one who I'd rather have in charge.
What, the Mark Hughes?
In a 50-50 challenge, like in terms of League Two and being able to attract players. Because this is the thing, anyone outside the Championship that gets released by a club and he's looking for somewhere to go, Mark Hughes is the manager that's going to put his arm around you and get you to come to this club. It's not going to be the fans. It's not going to be the size of the ground. It's going to be Mark Hughes as Bradford. That's what it's going to be, the manager at this stage. And you hate to say it because people always say there's no one bigger than the club. He is bigger than the club at the minute. And let's see what happens.
So are you looking at it as an appointment then in the same vein, slightly different, I suppose, but the same way, like it's Wayne Rooney's derby, that kind of thing?
Yeah, and I think you'll see it on Sky Sports News. You'll see it on BBC Sport and things like that. We until he leaves this club will be referred to as Mark Hughes as Bradford. That's what we will be called, and I'm fine with that. I am more than happy to be called Mark Hughes as Bradford. until it goes wrong, in which case, you know, we can have that name back.
I think you do yourself a disservice there.
Do you?
I think, I think the badge on the shirt is always bigger than the name on the back. You know what I mean? I don't think you get a lot of these managers like Mark Hughes, the ones that have managed that they've gone from playing football, being really good footballers at the top flight, then go into management, are hungry for a short space of time. And I think Mark Hughes, like we had Phil Brown. We had Phil Brown. And you look at Phil Brown's CV before he came to us. Well, hang on. You know, he got Hull up. He was a bloody great, passionate manager. He kept Hull up. He came to us, and he had no hunger for the game. He couldn't be asked. And that's my fear with Mark Hughes. He's been a lot higher. Has he still got the passion and the energy to take you higher? You know, I think you do yourself a disservice by saying Mark Hughes is Bradford, because when I think of Bradford, you know, I don't think you're as big as a lot of your fans say you are. However, you've got that ex-Premier League pedigree. So, yeah, I'll just disagree with you there a little bit.
No, I get what you're saying, and I think historically, yes, we can, but at the minute, where we are at the minute, I think to get the name of Mark Hughes in is bigger than what. I mean, if he wasn't bigger than us, he'd have been in the odds. You know, everyone's known Mark Hughes is trying to get into the game, trying to get back into the game, and he's come to a League Two club. He approached us, which that's the more baffling thing for me. Like, we didn't approach him; he approached our club. His email went into the CEO's spam folder, and like legitimately, and the CEO was clearing out his inbox and had to empty his spam and saw the email from Mark Hughes.
Mark Hughes, a Nigerian prince.
Yeah, he's still using Hotmail. But no, the thing I think the thing with Mark Hughes is at the minute he can't afford for this to go wrong, because he needs to go. He needs to be higher up, and I have no issue with saying that he's using us as a stepping stone. But if we manage to ride that wave and get back on an upward trajectory, that, you know, the trajectory that Phil Parkinson put us on. So yeah, I mean, I think overall, obviously his name's not bigger than the club, but at the minute, because of where we are, he's a bigger name than I think we could have ever expected to get at this league. And I think, reputationally speaking, yeah, I mean, more people in the world of football will know Mark Hughes than will know Bradford City, and that's unfortunately, it is the way it is. My mum was a Man United fan when she was growing up. She came to the game on Saturday because Mark Hughes is manager. She was like, I like Mark Hughes. He was my favourite player growing up. And it's like,
we had the same with Paolo. Yeah, same with Paolo.
Same with Paolo for yourselves. Yeah. But the difference thing with Paolo is he didn't have that pedigree of, like, Mark Hughes has never managed outside of the Premier League.
Yeah.
5 years ago, he just finished finishing 9th for the 3rd season in a row with Stoke in the Premier League. And he's now at Bradford City. And it's going to be interesting to see what he can do, because we haven't got that money. You know, this is a manager who signed Robinho. He signed Vincent Kompany. I think he signed Carlos Tevez for Man City. No, not for Man City. He didn't know. Sorry, but he signed some big players at Man City, and he's not going to be able to. He's going to have a transfer budget smaller than some of their wages.
I imagine he signed Peter Crouch for Stoke as well.
Yeah, and Shaqiri. Was it Shaqiri as well?
Shaqiri, yeah.
So when Shaqiri's lining up for Bradford next season, we will be laughing there. Yeah, McCurdy won't be putting his messages out on Instagram then, will he?
Well, on the subject of McCurdy, and Ben, we will dive a bit deeper to this in the next thing that I want to come across. But I mentioned to Ned about the importance for us to get the result, and how important it was for us to get the result in the way we did. You know, play till the final minute, that kind of thing. Don't give up. You know, it will happen if you keep trying, kind of thing. And we've mentioned it a few times over the course of the season, and it's a wider conversation in football these days. You hear the pundits on Sky and BBC, Roy Keane's always going on about it, about characters these days, and how the umbrella of character has changed in modern football. Results like Saturday is what shows character of a team, and to have character in a team, the players need to have that character within themselves.
Well, to start with, we were a bit of a disaster because in the first 10, 15 minutes, Cooper suffers an injury that we've just turned out as his season ending. So Cooper's done now.
No, I hope it's not career ending.
No, it's not career ending. But Brandon Cooper's now not going to play another game this season. And he played like 80 minutes with that injury, and unbelievably so. And he didn't even notice till the game was over. And for him to go through the game, we lost Tomlinson in the warm-up as well. And he's such a huge player for us.
Yeah, and he's
discombobulated the team.
His loan's essentially been cancelled as well now, isn't it?
He's basically up now as well. And obviously then Hunt has to go left back. We've got a centre back playing at right back, and it completely discombobulates the back, which probably contributed to the poor start. And to start so badly, go one down, to turn that around, because it was basically started like Tranmere, and then we turned that around, managed to, it was like, you imagine an arm wrestle, and they're forcing our arm down, and they've got one up, they've nearly forced us down, and then we put it back. That's pretty much how that game went, and then it was just to and fro in, and in the end, we sort of like punched his face and put the arm down to win it. But it was like that. We showed a lot of character, a lot of grit. They had new manager bounce. They had the fans. They had a great atmosphere. They had everything behind them. Everything was pushing on for a home win, and we resisted, and we managed to come out and nick a win. And that is what promotion teams do. So all credit to them. They've got a tough few games coming up, but they won't get tougher than that one.
And Christian, on the subject of what the result means in the bigger picture, a lot of people are still saying, despite their poor current form, Forest Green have pretty much already done enough. But the sort of from second downwards, and I know, Liam, you've got your views on this, which we'll come to in a minute, but from sort of second downwards, it's still very tight, and it's important to keep picking up these points. It's not a case of let's try and settle for playoffs. Automatic promotion's still there if we can put a run together.
2 points behind.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Forest Green, every season they've been doing it for years. They get this big lead at the top and let it slip. This season, I think they've left it a bit late to let it slip. So I think they're going to get, the pack's going to close in on them, but I think they'll have done enough to get in the top 3. They probably won't win, but they might not win the league, Forest Green. They will go up. I've got no doubt of that. They will finish top 3, go up, and get absolutely dicked by Cheltenham next season. Going away. In the case with us, I've said it all the way through. I predicted 12th. I'm going to stick with 12th, and I think I'm wrong. I'm probably going to be wrong. But I
think you're going to be wrong by about 9-10 places.
Well, yeah, probably 5. But I'm not one of these people that changes my mind, like run with the foxes, run with the hounds, like a lot of our supporters. That you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, Power's God. Oh, Power's a bad man. I've got my opinion. I stick to it. So I'm going to stick with 12, like I said. However, I'd like to see us now. Like I said, we've got to be there and thereabouts that top 7. And if we finish top 3, if we get in the top 3, brilliant. What a fantastic achievement. If we finish between 4 and 7 and get in the playoffs, that's not a catastrophe. And then, we've got a puncher's chance. If we could play every playoff game away, we probably go up. But unfortunately, we've got to play at home as well.
And Liam, I know, I believe I'm right in saying Forest Green have a not exactly favourable game next up.
Yeah, well, we're playing them on Saturday at Forest Green, and you look at it. Aside from the bottom 5 teams in the league, Forest Green are and aside from us, are the out of form team in the league. I think what you're saying that they will finish top 3. I think Mansfield will win the league. And I think if you take a step back and look at the league, Forest Green are 12 points ahead of Mansfield at the minute. They've played 2 games more. Mansfield have still got to play Forest Green home and away, and they've got 2 games in hand. That's the 12 points done. If they beat Forest Green twice and win their 2 games in hand, they're on level. They'd actually be ahead on goal difference. So for me, I think Mansfield will win the league. We played them last week, and I'll say Mansfield have got resource. Who scored against us. Yeah, he reminds me a lot of McCurdy. The way that he moved on the ball, yeah, his positioning, it reminded me a lot of McCurdy, and I think Mansfield will win the league. When you said, by the way, when he said 12th and you said you'd be about 9 places off, you can't think you're going to finish 21st, surely. No, obviously you're getting at third. I think first and second will be Mansfield, Forest Green. I think that third spot's up for grabs.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, with how close this league seems to have been this season, I wouldn't want to go into the playoffs this year. I wouldn't want to play any of those teams in the playoffs because obviously Tranmere are in a bad run at the minute, but their blip's going to end at some stage. They can be a big team to come up against. But do you know what? Given up until I read McCurdy's Instagram post that I said, I hope you guys get third, but now you can stay down with us as far as I'm concerned. Do you know what? I'll even let you get to final at playoffs and I will watch you lose.
Oh, that's what we usually do. We're
not very good at playoffs anymore, unfortunately.
Liam, for all it's worth, and bucking the trend, I've had my run-ins with McCurdy, so I'm not a big fan of him. So,
do you know what?
I appreciate him as a footballer, but he just needs to shut his fucking mouth.
He's. I think the issue, and for me, and I picked up on this. I came out of the ground on Saturday, and there was a lot of fighting, a lot of fighting, and I don't think putting a post saying Bradford's a shithole, I want to go home, when that's what your fans were chanting outside the ground, causing the fights. I'm like, I don't think really did any favours. There was a big police presence, and there were a lot of dodgy things going on outside that ground. But you know what? It is what it is.
Well, to be fair, they probably saw that viral video of the 2 10-year-olds that was chasing one of the away coaches outside the county ground a few weeks back and got scared.
So that's why Rich can't make it. He's in custody. Is that right?
Yeah, you did. You guys, you got done for it, didn't they? Didn't they get done for it?
Yeah.
Oh, those little kids. Yeah, they got done.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, you've all kind of mentioned his name, so let's talk about McCurdy, nominated for the 2nd month in a row for Player of the Month. So congratulations to him. And I'm kind of going to mix the format up a bit tonight because a lot of the topics I wanted to cover, we've kind of had a question sent to the mailbag linked into it. So on the loosely associated to McCurdy, and Liam, if you're happy to stay on, we can turn it into a Bradford question for you as well, for any fellow Bradford fans that will watch this episode. So the question linked to McCurdy is, you're driving to the next game, in this case Exeter for us, and the team coach has broken down. You guys might have heard the story of what happened before Bradford. Was it the Advert guys? Their car broke down and they got picked up by Rob Angus on the way.
CEO, yeah.
That's it. You've got room in your car for one player that's not McCurdy. Who are you picking up for the team coach? And Liam, I'll ask these guys first, but if you want to pick up any Bradford player to take him to a game.
I thought you meant Swindon players. I was going to say, I put my feet up. I put my feet up on the seat.
No. You can pick one Bradford player because their coach has broken down as well. But Ben, I'll ask you first. Which Swindon player are you picking up and taking to the game?
Who would I pick up and take to the game?
That's not McCurdy.
No, it's not McCurdy. No, it probably would be Johnny Williams because everyone seems to love him. He seems the most popular guy in the squad. Everyone thinks he's brilliant. And I want to see what the fuss is about because we barely heard him this season because the club don't do interviews. So yeah, I'd have Super Johnny Williams.
I think Ned's just frustrated that you haven't called him Johnny fucking Williams. Like
Johnny fucking Williams. Sorry,
Ned.
Johnny fucking Williams.
What's wrong with you?
Johnny fucking Williams.
Go on, Ned. Which player are you picking up and taking to the game?
Well, there's only one answer for this. Because obviously Christian hates McCurdy, but there's only one answer to this, because if McCurdy rates him as God, then it's got to be Jack Payne, because he's got to have something about him in order to make McCurdy think he's God. So
I was going to say Payne as well. Christian, who are you picking up and taking to the game?
I'm going to pick up Dion Conroy and
let me guess. Wait. Let me guess how this ends. You're going to pick up Dion Conroy and take him to a different game.
Yeah, I'm going to take a wrong turn and he's going to end up in fucking Cornwall.
I thought you'd take him.
Skipper you're talking about. Liam,
I thought you'd take him to Cheltenham, CK, mate. I thought you'd take him to Cheltenham, try and nick him. The Cheltenham boys.
So Liam, Bradford coach breaks down on the way to Forest Green. Which player are you picking up?
on the way to Forest Green, so the coach brought. No, never, not again. Jesus. If you'd have asked me this a month ago, I'd have told you I'd have wound the window up, I'd have taken my coat off so they didn't know what I mean, I'd have just drove past very quietly. But given now, if we're only going to take one player to the game, I'm taking Theo Robinson, because I think it'd be hilarious to just see 11 Forest Green players come up against Theo Robinson. We're not going to get anything out of the game, but it'd be, I think he'd provide, like I said to you guys earlier, I think I said before we started, effort is there with him, and he is a player that would give 100%. We wouldn't get nothing out of the game. He'd probably get sent off.
If his ability matched his effort, it'd be some player. But it doesn't.
Yeah, unfortunately. But he's a League Two player, and we're in League Two, and we appreciate that. But yeah, for me, there's nobody based on this season. I don't think there's anybody that I've looked at and thought that right there's a leader. We've missed that this season. We've really missed a leader this year. Pawdy stepped up. We lost our captain in January. Pawdy O'Connor stepped up, but the last couple of games he's maybe gone off the ball a little bit. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Since he got his tooth smashed out against Salford, he's just been wanting to fight everybody.
Oh, it was him. I was going to ask. It was you said about a player who's a walking red card. I couldn't remember which player it was, but it's Pawdy O'Connor, was it?
He got the red card against Oldham, and he got rescinded, and some reason so he got rescinded, and they said the referee was wrong, but both teams got fined for failing to control players, and I was like, that makes no sense. Pawdy got the red card, and you see the picture, he stood there with a bust nose and a big hole in his shirt down here, and I'm like, oh yeah, that looks like the troublemaker. Pawdy's running around just ripping his own shirt, but no, he obviously that got rescinded. He played against Harrogate. He was so lucky not to get sent off against Harrogate. Last week against Mansfield, he made some challenges that were just, I don't know what it is. I don't know where this has come from, because he's quite like, when you speak to him in person, he's such a gentle person. And he's a lovely, lovely guy. But the second that whistle goes, you don't want to get on the wrong side of that bloke on that pitch. He's horrific. Yeah, not great.
Ned, Ben already kind of mentioned it, but next up is the news that came through today about the injuries to Cooper and Tomlinson, and for all intents and purposes, their loans are now cancelled. Their seasons are maybe not so much. Is it Tomlinson that stands a chance?
Tomlinson might come back at the end,
but Cooper's basically definitely out for the season, and Tomlinson all but. They're going to be two big losses for us, aren't they? Considering how well they've settled into life at SM1.
Yeah, absolutely. Tomlinson, he looks so dangerous, whether it putting in a cross or, shooting from 30 yards out. He looked absolutely brilliant. And we were so lucky to get him in the first place, because Peterborough fans were confused as to why we allowed him in the first place.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a massive loss. I mean, he doesn't look like a footballer at all. Facially, he doesn't look like a footballer. But yeah, I really rate him. If we can get him again before the end of the season, that'll be absolutely fantastic. But yeah, that's a massive loss. And Cooper as well. Again, he's not the tallest player in the world, but he really he makes his presence felt, doesn't he?
This level.
Oh yeah, he's strong. You can see that he's proper winding up the strikers as well. He's master of the dark arts. He's a great passer of the ball. He can tackle. It's such a shame, but at the same time, you could argue the fact that that allows AK back into the team. Bowdry,
Conroy.
showed Conroy, but I'm saying Bowdry showed he showed what he can do when given a few minutes. Can't do it for 90 minutes, can he? But we have got cover at centre back, but it's just the wing backs. Got no cover at all, have we? Zero cover.
And Ben, I think you mentioned in our WhatsApp chat, so I'm pretty sure you're confident of the rulings around this. If their loans are actually terminated, we can't actually bring anyone in to replace them, can we?
And you can bring an emergency keeper. This is a specialist position, but that's it now. Only free agents.
You have to play them as a keeper.
You have to play them as well. If you're not, if you get an emergency, yeah.
Well, you want to say
play
there's
them
one
in
of your
goal.
goalkeepers on loan to play at
They
left
have
back?
to play them.
No, I'm
yeah.
just saying I'd be contacting someone and saying, just, you know, tell your striker he's a keeper for the next 6 weeks. Get him in as an emergency keeper. Or my keeper's fit. I'm going to play him up front.
No, you can't do that, I'm afraid. But yeah.
I have a question for you guys.
Go on.
This 6.5-year-old fan.
Yeah.
That's not real.
No.
Oh, thank God for that, because I read that letter and I was like, that's the writing I make when I forget to get my kids to write their name in my mum's birthday card.
No, my missus is a teacher, primary school teacher, and straight away she was like, "No, that a 6-year-old did not write that."
We've been discussing this over the last couple of episodes and been very careful about what we say, because we don't want to discredit and we don't want to devalue from the story behind it. But yes, there is a widely held belief that no, it's
no,
genuine.
There's still an outside chance. You never know. He might got his mum to help him write it. You know, you don't know. Joe might well be out there, so you know, I don't want to offend.
Yeah, but I mean, if I got my mum to help write it, she wouldn't write it like a child. That's as soon as I saw it, I was like, no, that's like that is literally it's the J on the jaw that got me, because that just reminded me of me, and I've done it many times. I always forget to get my kids to write their names in my mum's birthday cards. And
what it has done, it's earned 10 grand and it's gone to disadvantaged families in the local area. There's lots of kids now that are going to have like a football day at the club that the players are going to train who are in that sort of position. You know, it's going to kids now who can't afford school shoes. Who can't,
and 50% of it's
wearing
going to homeless charities as well.
Yeah, homeless charities.
Fair play.
So it's good to come of it. So 10 grand's now being dished out to the area. So
It's
I
like
wonder
now.
if they gave.
Sorry, go on.
I wonder if they gave McCurdy that 26p.
probably asked for it.
He probably, do you know what? He probably did ask for it as well. Yeah, I bet he won't put it past him. I won't put it past him if one of these kids gets to come to ground, he charges them 26p.
Probably bought a new autographs for Curdy, don't you? Oh yeah, Curdy quid. There you go.
You could buy a new pair of trousers on eBay for that much, I should imagine.
Well,
one of his dodgy pairs of trousers.
Liam, what he does do, and you probably don't know, you know, players sign autographs. He signs at McCurdy and puts up the Chels at the bottom because he's a Chelsea fan. So he signs.
Oh yeah, I've seen him. Yeah, but that's strange. And I think, you know, you guys you're quite fortunate because the position you're in, you're doing well. I can't help but feel how you guys would, or how your fans would react if he was writing up the Chels on every one of his posts and you were bottom of the league.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, because it's going well and he's scoring goals. He's got 17 goals. He's probably got half as many assists, 10 or 11 assists. The fans love him at the minute, and they do love every little goal celebration with his arrow. We do love the shithousing. We do love him winding up the fans. We love all that, but that's because he's winning. When he's been at other clubs and he's done exactly the same thing, you know, Carlisle and Crewe and Port Vale, they've not been winning, and then he's been a bad egg. So as long as we're winning, it's great, and it could blow up in our face, and we could be one of those teams that he's shithousing.
Just hearing you say that, Ben, Ned, I don't know if you caught it. I just want to give a little shout out, if I can, to it's called the City Vent, isn't it? The other right. I have to give a little shout out there, which is what Ben appeared on earlier this week. And because I don't know if you caught it, Ned, but they used the saying, and the first thing I thought of was you. I can't remember what they were discussing at the time, but all I heard was, and Carlisle is shit. Everyone beats Carlisle. And all I thought was, Ned had said that every week since we lost to them, that everyone else in the league beats Carlisle.
But we lost to them as well. We got spanked. We lost 2-0 to them. But the thing is, and I'm quite looking forward to this, I'm not a fan of Carlisle. I think Carlisle have got, you know, like, you mentioned earlier about Bradford fans having this opinion of the club and thinking that we're bigger than we are, and I agree massively. Carlisle have got that same opinion, but no reason to have it. Like, there's absolutely nothing that I look at about Carlisle and I go, God, you guys are massive. You like, no, sorry, you've got Amari Patrick up front. It's not happening. But the good thing is we've got Carlisle at home on the last game of the season. So that's my hope. I know you guys obviously John Sheridan, Oldham, we touched on that. You're not massive fans. I want Oldham to stay up. Oh, Duff, do you like Sheridan? Are you a John Sheridan fan?
Key came up Sheridan.
I respect the fact that he went through a lot last year, and we only talk about mental health, and obviously one of our ex-players, Joey Beecham, and everything. So there's a lot of outpouring about looking after players and everything, mental health. Well, John Sheldon, he lost his mum last season. He lost his dad, both in close proximity. He wasn't the best manager. He was an old school manager. It didn't work for him, and I don't wish him any harm whatsoever.
I wish him no harm at all, but it doesn't mean that I don't necessarily would prefer Oldham to go down over someone else.
Well, I've got a lot of time for Oldham. I think it's probably the first Football League game I ever went to see was at Oldham against Blackburn in 1988-ish, I think. There was
some of us on tonight's episode weren't even born then.
I was born that year. So
no, I respect the fact that I think there was a lot going on in John Sheldon's life. I think he was at our club under protest. Whether he owed a favour to Power or something like that, was he doing it for free? Was he no,
he wasn't doing it for free.
No, he's doing it for free now.
Shares, yeah.
He's doing it for free at Oldham. He's not.
Well, he loves
not
Oldham. That's his team, isn't it? Oldham?
Because we were playing so crap. A lot of the supporters were coming out. It was quite funny, really. Our supporters were kind of, he's a bully. He picks on players. Oh, this is terrible. And then these same people, 8 years ago or so, were absolutely lording it over Paolo Di Canio for doing the same. Banter, go on, Paolo. Like, you know what I mean? What we've got is a very hypocritical fan base that run with the foxes, run with the hounds.
This is why we ain't got many viewers.
What are you smiling, Ben?
You guys won the league at our ground, didn't you, with Paolo?
We did. Well, yeah, it was the last game of the season. That was quite a day. I remember that.
And he was on the pitch after the game, and I stayed behind. And that season, you were phenomenal. Like he got you playing some beautiful football.
That for me is the best football I've seen us play.
Yeah,
it wasn't. It was terrible football, but
no, it was effective football. Effective football.
We bought the best players we could. It wasn't great football. It was the most enjoyable football that I've seen us play. That I genuinely believe that. Well, I think you're trying to rewrite history because it wasn't good football. It was great winning and it was powerful, and we were very good, powerful, best team in the division, albeit a poor division. It was League Two. I don't even count League Two championships as nothing. Macari's, DeCanio's, that
Wellens.
I'm interested in the top two divisions for Swindon Town.
I do fear we may have gone slightly off topic, and we have another question to touch on now that we've spoken about the two loan players. And I'm interested, again, Liam, your perspective on this. I don't know Bradford's approach to it, but friend of the pod, Oakus Road, who met Rich on Saturday. We got sent the picture of the two of them together. He's asked, we're going to be down 2 loan players for Tuesday. Looking ahead to next season, how many loan players, given all the problems we've had this year, do you think we should have in the squad? On the basis that we keep our on the basis that we sign up and keep our current key core players, how many loan players do you realistically think a squad should have then?
Realistically, I think obviously you'd be stupid not to max out and get 5 because they don't cost anything. And why would you not fill your squad up with players that don't cost anything?
Consider the issue. Like, so we've got the 2 injuries now. Consider what happened with Simpson and all the other issues we've had.
But if they were our players,
I get the money side of it, but I think what Oaks Road's saying is, when it works, fine. But when you have issues like we've had this year, is it worth it?
You've got to be selective with your clubs, really, who you get loans off. If you're going to buy someone's loan, a league championship's 4th choice striker, you've got to be prepared. If he does well, you might lose him. If you pick up some young youth from Villa, like we did, it's unlikely you will lose him unless he really excels, like we did with Kane Kessler. So I think you need to be clever on who you loan in, who you buy. Absolutely. You see, we suffered a couple of injuries late on this season. If they were first team, our own players, there'd be players that we'd still be paying for now, but wouldn't be able to play. At least those players are not on our books. So the players on our books are players that we're paying for. So it's fine. Max out 5 loan players. I don't understand clubs who criticise you. Oh, you got fully loans. No, you
Do you agree
use
with
them.
that, Ned?
I do actually, as long as they're attributing something to the team, where it's not just people who we carry, like a Fola on a Bouger or a
There's
whoever
that lad
that.
from Brentford. He was rubbish. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Well, don't tell that to Rich.
Don't
Jesus
tell
Christ.
Rich that you think he's rubbish.
But as long as they attribute to the team, then they're, I don't want to say you're stupid not to, but you're stupid not to. So I get the point of, don't fall in love with your loan players, blah blah blah. But
He's selective.
We always fall in love with loan players.
If you can pick up, a 19-year-old style like Gascoigne Merson or something, he's getting his first taste of football, he's going to turn into an international superstar in 10 years' time. Why not? Why not?
Louis
Improve
Barry might
them.
win his promotion. Louis Barry is outstanding. He is such a quality player. And I know TK has got his head in his hands, and it's like, he's 18, isn't he? He's fucking crap. What's he got to do? He's not doing anything. He's never played Premier League game for him.
That's an uncanny impression, Ben.
He is such a quality. His ceiling is so high. He does things on the pitch that not a lot of other players do, that can do at this level. It's so good.
Because he's playing in the fucking fourth division, Ben. That's why.
What's that, mate?
It's because he's playing in the fourth division. Let's not lose track of where we are as a club. You know?
I know, but he'll get us out this fourth division. That's what I mean. He's good enough to get us out because he's better than this seed, better than League Two. That's what you need. You want better players than League Two players. You want League One players playing in League Two. So if he's a League One player, brilliant. We'll have him because he'll put us in the right part of the league. And he's better than that. He's going to be quality. Same with Kane Kasler.
CK, I'll bring you in before I ask Liam what Bradford's approach to loan players is.
Yeah, okay. So I think, at every stage of the season, there needs to be a template, right? There needs to be a template of consistency where we should, as a club, be able to field 11 players and maybe 2 or 3 substitutes who are under contract, who are our own players. That's your template. That's what like your past stock kind of thing.
Yeah.
We should own 12, 13 players. We could put a team out in League 2 or 1 and be competitive.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, we should be able to go out and get 5 loanees who will enhance those positions.
Yeah.
But you've got to have that structure. You can't, like we have done for years. I mean, we're not doing it now. I'm not gonna beat Clem with the power stick. But it's just been a bit of a fucking last minute rush all the time. Beginning of the season, we don't know who we are, we don't know what a squad. We started pre-season training with 6 or 7 players. It's been a joke. So I think as long as you can field a team of 11 players and 2 or 3 subs who are under contract and who can compete in the league we're in, use those other 5 loanees to enhance those positions.
So you're agreeing with what we're saying then, yeah?
Except for the bit where Ben said that Louis Barry was really, really good.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, that was the bit you
No,
disagreed with.
I was talking about structure and being professional, Ned. So I'm not sure I was agreeing with what you were saying, but yeah.
Liam looks confused by the situation. This is what it's like every week, mate.
No, yeah, it's the same with us, and we never agree, and that's what makes it interesting to watch, isn't it? If everyone was just going, yeah, real happy, I agree, it'd be boring.
Exactly.
I agree on the sense of maximising it. We've done that this season. We've not brought in the right players. I think at the minute we've got 6 players on loan, and only Alex Bass is playing out of those 6. Jamie Walker is out injured. We've got him on loan from Hearts. He's out of contract in the summer. He is that player that this season enhanced our squad. For me, in the summer, he should be our number 1 target to bring in permanently because he is a class above this league by a long, 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 long way. I think loans are going to be key for us next season because of, like I say, I know I talk about Mark Hughes, but you look at his career and you look at the essentially where he's been involved, he's going to have the ability to speak to those clubs, get the loan players, and like you say, if you're a manager in a Premier League, a Championship club, and you're going to send someone out on loan to the lower leagues, aside from Mansfield, with Clough, who's the manager that you're going to want to put them under? Really? Who? Yeah.
Bengana.
Yeah. But that's
All
the
right,
thing.
yeah,
It's
but
like
you're right.
I don't think. I'm not saying that. It's difficult because he's not been in the game for 4 years now. But as a name, his name should attract. And I think when you put that alongside 15,000 fans, a 25,000 seater stadium, obviously that doesn't win you the league. But to be able to essentially, you're talking about a mini Championship club at this level. We've got the caliber of manager, we've got the fans, we've got the stadium. You want your player to go out and get experience. That's where you want them to go. You want them to experience those things, because we've seen so many players come to us who have been sort of touted as great prospects, and they've come to us and they've just crumbled under the pressure of having this crowd behind them. And I think that it can make or break them. But yeah, we've got 6 on loan at the minute, and only 1 is playing consistently. Matty Dale is the other one that's close, but he's yet to play a full game for us. If he started, he comes off. If not, he comes off of the bench for us. But aside from that, we got the only thing I disagree with is loaning from players in your league. I don't see the point in that. We got Tom Elliott on loan from Salford City. Why would Salford City let a striker go to Bradford City if they thought that he was worth anything? So we signed him on loan, and he's not been great. So
especially when they consider you a promotion rival at the start of the season.
Exactly, and at the time I think we were 2 places apart from them. Like we were neck and neck at that stage, and that to me instantly, as soon as I saw we'd signed him, I was like, well, he's not going to be any good for us. Why would they let him come to us? So yeah, I mean, loans, you've got to maximise it. I do think you've got to maximise it at this level. If you can get a season, a decent season out of some loan players and get yourself promoted, fine.
Lower leagues is important.
Yeah.
Definitely lower leagues.
A question for you, Ben. You'd gone off the thing the other night. So I think I don't know who was it off here that ended up speaking.
I went off and Fifey went on.
So I'll ask you the same question, Ben. You spoke about all your issues off of the field, in terms of what's been going on, and I raised the question of, would it be better for you guys as a club to stay down this season?
No.
And purely because, and I'll give my reasons for that. For this, you've got this wage limit, haven't you? What did you say? Is it 1,300?
Embargo.
Okay. So imagine you go up and next season starts and that's not sorted. For me, is it better for your owner to get things sorted off the pitch and progress, or do you think it's just going to be added pressure next season if you go up and you've got a £1,300 a week wage limit?
Go on, Ben.
I'll explain a little bit about the embargo. The embargo was given to us. We took out, last year when the FA loans were dished out to everyone. Well, there was a little pot put aside for any other clubs that came up and go, the little Oliver Twist, please, can we have some more? And Swindon took an extra loan of about £1.1 million, 1.151 million, just to keep alive. So the FA went, right, you can have that. That's yours. You can have it over a 3-year loan, which is interest-free. So no interest on it at all. You just pay what you give us. So don't get in financial trouble paying us back, because what's the point? However, your first year, you will be under embargo. So you will not pay any transfer fee for a player. You will not have any player that you sign from now on in more than 1 year contract. You may not sign any contract extensions longer than 1 year, and every single player is one for it. But once next summer rolls in, I think June, then it's lifted. We're still paying it back. I didn't know that, yeah. We're still paying it back, but we're not, there's no one we're not paying back, because embargoes are placed on clubs if they're not paying bills back. If they've got outstanding creditors who've gone, right, well, you're not paying us back, you do something or we're going to stick an embargo on you. It's not that. We are paying all our debts back. Clem is doing that. But we've got a special one from the FA that have been forced onto us, just saying, look, you've got a whopping great bill of 1.1 million. Don't get in trouble by paying us back early, but we've got to put some sanctions on you or everyone's going to want one. So that makes sense. So next season is the season where we can operate like normal clubs.
And that for me, that's what I sort of said the other night. It's interesting to hear that, because we don't see what goes on off the pitch with your club. We only see your on the pitch results. You only see what we've done on the pitch. You don't hear what goes on off the pitch for us. So no, I didn't know. I knew that there was the sanctions in place, but I didn't know that they ended this summer. So no, that makes sense. Had they not ended this summer, it'd have been I'm guessing probably a bit of a different answer, because it'd be hard to compete in League One and stay up with that sanction.
Yeah, we still would go up though, because you wouldn't turn down promotion, and you get like, I can't imagine Morecambe have got much of a higher budget. I can't imagine a few other clubs. Accrington have got a really tidy one as well. And
Morecambe in the relegation place. That's not a good example.
I know, but they've got a fighting chance of staying. Cheltenham, they must be on players what, 900 quid. DK's a Cheltenham fan. It's a little bit of banter. That's why he follows Cheltenham. But I think it would be a battle to stay up.
It's just that added pressure, isn't it? Because you've got the pressure of staying up whenever you go up out of a league anyway, and then when you've got that, it's going to be hard to attract players at that stage. But no, I now you've explained it, makes sense. So yeah.
So on last week's episode, Ned, those of us that were on, we had we started an interesting discussion about atmosphere at the county ground, whether we thought it was any good, what could be, if we didn't, what could be done to improve it, etc. And thank you to everyone who got involved on social media about getting involved in this conversation. Loads of different ideas were thrown about. We did a little poll on where we thought we were, and average to good was kind of where we put ourselves in terms of atmosphere at home generally. And I know, because you weren't there, you had a few things that you wanted to kind of say on that topic as well.
Yeah, first and foremost, I wanted to agree with Christian. I think he raised a really good point about the fans not getting there early. Back in the standing days, around the Stratton Bank and Shrivenham Road stand, if you wanted to get in the right place, then you had to be there early. So the atmosphere starts to build up from there. But I was thinking, obviously, whether this is something that Bobby wants to look into, the thoughts that I had was, to get people in early, you want to be maybe introducing someone walking around the pitch at the beginning, maybe like an old legend or something, offer some, who can do some signatures and a few selfies and stuff. I thought that would, if you sort of advertised who was coming for the next game, that type of thing would encourage. I think maybe having a few, silly little competitions.
Or like the old kick the ball from the halfway line into the boot with a car.
Oh well, no, that's the half-time stuff, isn't it? But like, pre-match would be, stupid stuff. Someone's got a, like one of the t-shirt cannon things, like they do at, American sports and stuff.
We discussed a couple of weeks ago whether English football needed to go more American and showbiz, and we all said no. And here you are saying, to build the atmosphere at the county ground, we need t-shirt cannons.
Yeah, well, let's start shooting our fans to win.
Let's get them in and kill them off.
The best thing about the old ice hockey at the moment, chuck a puck.
The thing, can I ask you guys then, what's your mascot like? What, in terms of like how he is before?
Well, the Rockin Robin Hacker is infamous.
Yeah, he just walks around the pitch for pre-match and just hugging little children and does a little dance at half time.
See, you've got as far as I'm concerned, you've got that's free for the club. That's free entertainment for the club, and I think with us, he just winds the away fans up. That's his job. He got told by the club to wind the away fans up, and I think fans come out, especially around that part of the ground, just to see what's going to get done. On Saturday, I know he put the ball down and he had all the fans going. He was like that, and they were going, oh, as he lined it up to go and kick it, and he ran over to kick it and just picked it up, turned around, gave him the finger and walked away. But that's what we do at ours, and because our CEO said the mascot is boring, it needs to be better.
So let me ask you, because of the volume of people you get at Bradford, it's always said the fans at Bradford. What how would you describe the atmosphere at home games for you? Do you think
Not the
it's
last
a
one,
good
the
atmosphere
ones before.
or average, or you think it should be better?
I think it can always be better. Really, I don't think that in League Two you get 100%. You know, aside from, I'm going to be honest, I think Hartlepool home and away, I think are the best fans in this league, and a lot of people criticise me for that, and they get quite salty about it because it seems to be the thing. That's the thing that everyone wants to claim to be the best fans in the league, and no, for us, it's been quite toxic this season. It's not been a nice place to be. We've all been on a knife edge at the beginning of every game, knowing that if we go 1-0 down, it's going to become a really horrible place to be. Beginning of the season, I'll be honest, the end of August when that transfer window closed, I literally put a tweet out. I was like, just give us the league now, because we looked phenomenal, and then the wheels fell off. But the atmosphere then was incredible. And then it's sort of gone down a bit, but now it's coming back with what's going on.
Okay, so if we go back to, if I can go back to August, because this is something we were discussing last week, because it's a very contentious point about the county ground. We're getting bigger crowds now than we have in recent years, and that the phrase "it should be bouncing" or "should be rocking," but it's just not to most people. What is it that you guys do say before a game? Do your fans turn up with 5 minutes to go, or are you in there half an hour before, 45 minutes before? And if so, why are they in there before?
They're not there before. No, you find that they are in the terraces, they're in the pubs. I think we get there a little bit earlier than some other teams do at their grounds, because the nearest pub for home fans isn't too close.
Right.
So it's a case of, you have to get there. Unfortunately, you've got to. Otherwise, you're potentially miss the beginning of the game. But 5 to 10 minutes before is when the main majority of the noise comes out. But our issue is we had in the big stand behind the goal, the Cop. K block was the atmosphere section. This year they moved K block into the northwest corner, and it's not worked for me because northwest corner is the furthest point away from the away fans.
Right.
So they can't hear each other, and like I'm dead center of both for a lot of what I do. And like the amount of times I've come on to the League Two page on Facebook after a game, and the away fans have been like, "Oh, we didn't stop singing, we were so loud," and I'm like, guys, I was pitch side in front of you, and I couldn't hear you. But our fans, I couldn't hear us. The best thing that we could do is move, and I think every club should do it, move your noisy section to the block next to the away fans. Get them as close as possible. That's how you do it. Then it bounces back. That's the only way you're going to get an atmosphere. You're killing it by having them in two separate parts where they can't have a bit of banter between them.
Well, something we've spoken about a lot is singing sections of the county ground, isn't it? And where it should be. And I know Christian's spoken about standing again and where it could be placed and stuff. Go on, Christian.
I was going to say, because obviously Liam wasn't privy to our last call, and so we're talking about what and Ned said as well. Ned agreed with it. So what we said basically was, if you remember when the grounds weren't all seater, you had to get there early to get your position, where you wanted on the terraces. And now people knowing they've got a seat and they know where they're going to sit, they leave it that bit longer. So the atmosphere that used to build up before a match is no longer there, because everybody's walking at 5-2. They go and sit in their seat and not worry about it. And something else I've remembered, guys, since our last podcast. Do you remember when the players, I think it was in the Hoddle, and I think they might have done it for a bit in McMahon as well, they used to run from Don Rogers' stand when they were doing the warm-up, Don Rogers to the Arkles, and we used to always stand up and clap them. So they come towards the Arkles, and we'd all stand up and applaud them, and then they turn around and go to the Don, and they stand up and applaud. And that created a good atmosphere as well.
We do that now. Our players do that now at the end of their warm-up before the game.
But I don't think any of our guys are in there early enough. I've not been to Valley Brave. Forgive me. Have you got any terracing left there, or are you all seater as well?
All seated. See, for me, I think that even if we put in a standing section. We've tried everything other than what I've just mentioned, which is moving the noisy fans or the allocated atmosphere section to next to the away fans. We're quite lucky in that we've got a 4,500 seater stand where the away fans are at one end. We can put our guys right next to them. We don't have the away fans in a separate stand, so we can make it quite close. But no, for me, because of the size of our stadium, if we put in that terrace in, people still wouldn't be concerned because there would be, at the minute there's nearly 2 seats per person in the ground, so it's difficult. I don't know what the answer is. I genuinely don't know what the answer is.
But the thing is, it's that pre-match build-up that isn't that. But going most of the clubs now in this country, it's not really been talked about much. But there isn't that pre-match build-up and excitement that it used to be. I don't get it. I get most of mine. I don't know if you guys would agree. I get most of my pre-match excitement from being in a pub. Right until the last minute, right until 5 minutes before kickoff. We're fortunate. Well, I say we're fortunate. They've got the slowest bar staff in the world. Don't matter if we're playing Man City or bloody Macclesfield. But we've got a pub, County Grand Hotel, which is literally a stone's throw across the car park. So we can leave there at 5:02 and walk straight into the ground. And that didn't used to be the case with terraces because you knew you had to be in the ground to jostle for position, and it made that atmosphere just pre-match absolutely spot on. And now, I will walk in, the team is probably out before I walk in. They should be standing, giving me a frigging standing ovation or something as I'm walking to the ground because they're there just before me. And it's just not there. There's just not that excitement, not that bloody passion anymore.
Do you think
Well-
that's because of? Do you think that's because of the league we're in though as well? Like
No, I don't.
No.
think the league help. I don't think the league helps.
Because in what we would now call our glory years, which was the late 80s and early 90s, when we were in the second tier, we were getting smaller crowds, and we get smaller crowds, and the passion was there. But now we've actually got our supporters are on a bit of a crest of a wave at the moment. We've had it so bad for 6 or 7 years. Awful management by the old owner. Where this chap Clem, he's come in, he's basically given the club back to the supporters. I mean, and I'll use him as an example. We've got our home shirt, our Swindon home shirt, replica shirt. Due to the previous owners, we could only order a certain amount of them. They sold out straight away. Now, if you go on eBay now and try and get this season's home shirt, you're paying upwards of £100 for it. The guys, the supporters, are back engaged with the club. They're back engaged with the community. We're getting 10,000, touching 10,000 through the gate all the time. Everything's in place, apart from the atmosphere. The atmosphere is not there. And
my other thing for you, I think this is I think a key thing is that it is a different time now.
Yeah.
Massive, and I think I don't think it helps. I think back in the day, you used to be able to go to work Monday to Friday.
You weren't on your phone.
Yeah, Monday to Friday. You finished on a Friday, then boom, you went to football on Saturday. You had a great day out. The worries of Monday to Friday don't disappear on a Saturday anymore, and I think that has ruined a lot of enjoyment in things on a weekend because you're constantly looking toward, the cost of living's gone up, and it's stupid to think about that when you look at football. But I think that's part of it as well. I don't think that football is as enjoyable as it used to be. Certainly for me, like I've been going since I was a kid, and I've watched us. I watched us lose. We lost 3-0 to Accrington Stanley on a Tuesday night, 2007. One of the worst games of football I've ever seen in my life. The best atmosphere I've seen at Valley Parade, aside from the cup run that we went on under Parkinson. The whole stadium didn't shut up. We sang The Great Escape for an hour. We went 3-0 down against Accrington Stanley. I just feel that over time it's getting harder and harder and harder to be Well, to be a football fan as well, because you're getting, you mentioned there about the shirts, you're getting priced out of the game. Shirts are £50 nearly.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous. You go to the ground on a Saturday and you go to get a pie and it's nearly £5 for a pie that you get 2 for £1 of in Tesco's.
Look at us, we all love our pies too. So yeah, it's a killer.
It's not great. It's not an enjoy. I mean, I don't want to say it's not an enjoyable experience because I do enjoy it, but I don't enjoy it as much as I did.
Yeah.
And I think that's across the board.
Liam, I totally agree with you, and I did touch on that as well, where it's more of a habit nowadays than it is a enjoyable thing. And when you talk about the way society and everything is, and I did say, COVID, there's a lot of people. It's a bit of a depressed society, isn't it? It's a bit. There's not that enjoyment. It's not that feel good factor in the country at the moment. Unfortunately, we're all just sort of existing and not living. You know what I mean?
I think for us in League Two, I don't think League One's very attractive to look at. So you've got to get there. If you go out of League Two, that's your only aim. You've got to aim for League One. But I think until you get to League One and you're looking at the Championship and trying to aim for the Championship, I don't think that there's much of a difference in League One and League Two.
No.
And I don't think there's as much determination, or I don't feel that we'd be in much of a worse league position in League One than we are in League Two. I think it's that similar. But yeah, I agree. I think that it has become a bit of a chore. It's become a habit. It used to be that it wasn't necessarily an escape, because you didn't need that escape. You were able, like I say, Friday came along, you finished work, you finished whatever you're doing, and you just switched off. You had the weekend. It was your weekend. Your weekend isn't yours anymore. And with the cost of everything going up, you go to an away game, you're talking upwards £150, £200 all in by the time you've done your travel, your ticket for the game, your food, you're going to go for a drink. It used to be the working man's game. That's what it was. Football was the working man's game, and it's not anymore. And it's getting further and further down that route. And when you get more owners coming in there, seeing that there's money to be made, we get further away from it. Look, Arsenal, I know Arsenal's never been great for an atmosphere, but look at their prices. Like, that is just ridiculous. Like, if we got to that, we wouldn't be, like, I wouldn't go watch my club. There's no amount of money in, there's no amount of good football that my team could put on that would make me pay that amount of money to watch it, because I'd be sat there and every time they misplaced a pass, I'd be like, this has cost me £1,200 this season. What's that about? Like, it's just, I still get annoyed now when I see a professional footballer miss with his left foot, and they're like, oh, he's right-footed. I'm like, he's a professional footballer. Hit it with your left foot. Stop trying with it. Raheem Sterling, when you see Sterling turn it out onto 1 foot because he's 1-footed. No, you're on £400 a week.
Yeah, Raheem Sterling's not a very good example for me. I've got into more than my fair share of arguments about my thoughts on Raheem Sterling, whether he's wearing a Liverpool shirt, a Man City shirt, and more often than not an England shirt. I've got into my fair share of disagreements.
Headless chicken, blind alleyways.
Well, on the money front, I went to, speaking of Sterling and Man City, I took my missus to, obviously, Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
Everyone fell in love with Jack Grealish in the summer, so we went to Man City, Everton.
The calves and the hair.
Yeah, the calves and the hair. We went to Man City, Everton this season, and they've built, it's like a city outside their ground. They've got restaurants. They've not just got like kiosks for food. They've got restaurants. They've got street food. They've got a stage where there's bands playing live music before you go in. It cost me £9 for some dirty fries. £9 for chips with some little spring onions chopped up on it and some salt and pepper seasoning. £9. Like, that's not a working man's game.
You bring your sandwich, mate.
Well, do you know what, Liam? You've actually managed to segue perfectly for me into the last question that we've got for this episode, and it's come from Luke, who's asked, and it's kind of a follow-on from that. What development would you guys most like to see in or around the county ground? Something we've touched on briefly before. So he's mentioned the Stratton Bank, maybe a bigger town end, safe standing, like Christian's mentioned. And then he brings in that Clem said about a hotel and restaurant on site, maybe part of near the new town end. Where should the priorities be? So if we're talking about building an atmosphere before the game, do we think the infrastructure around the stadium, if you're talking about maybe restaurants and some of the stuff you mentioned, that I'm not talking as big as Man City have it, Liam, but if I ask you guys, if we had some of this stuff scaled down to our size, obviously, but we had restaurants and things like this in and around the county ground, would that help matters, do you think?
Can I just on that before you do get into it? The question you need to ask on that is, yes, if you say if you put like a restaurant, you've got bars, things like that, to generate revenue for the club, you need to look at your owner and ask whether that extra revenue would be used to bring down your costs in the ground, because that for me doesn't. You can do whatever you want around the ground, and you can bring all these extra things in to make revenue, but if it doesn't impact me in the ground, it's not gonna. You know, if I don't see my price of a pie go down because they're making a fortune elsewhere, it's not going to change the atmosphere. So I think it's got to be. It's all about your owner's motives, and you guys have got a newer owner, haven't you? I think is it
Clem. Yeah.
Be interesting to see what the thoughts are there as well.
Ben, I'll ask you first. What do you see as the key thing in terms of development in or around the county ground and wider? If we were to bring some of this stuff in, would it help the question about atmosphere?
Firstly, you need to sort the ground out to start with. I would.
So the most common complaint I had on Twitter was the speakers in every single stand. Like, I knew everyone was moaning about Don Rogers. Every single stand, I got a reply last week to say no one can hear music pre-match. No one knows what the guy on the mic's saying. Not a clue.
Yeah, well, your day-to-day bits just need to be sorted this pre-season anyway. That just goes without question. Just get that done. That's like before any groundwork starts. Obviously, you've got the bank. You need to stick a roof on the bank.
I want a roof on the bank.
Oh, I do. You get a roof on the bank because then you can because personally, I would have home fans home in the town end and the bank, because I want home fans either side behind the goal, sucking in the goal. Because when you've got a corner going into injury time and you're attacking your home end, you want your own fans behind the goal cheering you on, go on, trying to get that cross in. So I'd have the away fans, give them a bit more of the north stand, fine, let them have it. That little corner, home fans either side, and I'll knock down the town end, build it up. That's the first thing I'd do. Okay. And then I'd look to building the hotels and the casinos and whatever Clem wants to do.
I'm glad you brought in casino. I'm glad you mentioned casino, because obviously where I am, I'm very familiar with the setup at the Rico and stuff. Do we think a casino is the right sort of thing to be bringing people in? Well, see, Liam's already no.
I say casino because you've got the Rico Arena, which is like draw-dropping Premier League ground, and it's done until recently Cobb no good. But so the club earning
when you
money.
say Premier League ground, you look at the Rico, you look at Spurs' stadium, and you think, they're very, very similar.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean, though. But it's Cobb can hold Premier League football at that Rico stadium, and it's got all the frills and spills in it. So
we don't even have betting kiosks at Valley Parade.
Do you not?
No, they were removed when Ryan Sparks came in as CEO. He didn't want to encourage gambling.
No, that's a good shout.
So we used to have them in every stand. There isn't a single. You cannot place a bet at Valley Parade. So I agree with that, because it's not it's an addiction, isn't it?
No, I do too. I think that's fantastic. I think that's good.
You can't bet at the County Ground anymore, can you either? Is there still a betting thing there?
I reckon you don't have the facility. They used to, didn't they?
Yeah, it was one bloke with like real cream. Up in the Arkles, and like you have to try and catch him after the match.
Well, years ago, I forgot about that.
Now, but look, to be honest with you, I think the problem there is your betting apps. It's not the. I think that's what's killing people. It's not old Bert that goes and has a fiver on McGurdy to score the first goal. It's these buggers that are betting on Malaysian women's football at 3:00 in the morning. Like,
well, you used to on that there. You mentioned phones. That used to add to the atmosphere. You used to have to wait until half time till the scores came up.
Yeah.
And now you don't. Like we used to put, so like obviously Leeds are our rivals, Huddersfield are our rivals. If Leeds were losing, it came up, and if we were
Biggest
having a quiet
cheer.
moment in the game, yeah, it used to pick the crowd up. They don't do that anymore because everyone knows the score. Everyone's got the phone in the pocket. Everyone's looking at the screen. A lot
Well,
of the time, they miss what goes on the pitch.
and
That's
again,
true.
I think that's a society thing, because there was a picture that went round, I think it was yesterday. I can't remember if it came from the official channels or if it was a fan that posted it, but it was about just about like a picture of the Swindon fans celebrating the win. And like 75% of the people were on their phones. I'm guessing it was probably just after the penalty. They'd like been recording it or whatever. And but yeah, the picture, 75% of people were on their phones.
I'm not going to lie to you guys.
They knew it was a penalty though, didn't they? They knew it was a penalty. 95 minutes. They're all going to get the phones out. If it was spur of the moment, they're not going to be. You know that. I don't know why, because you get a great, far better video of it or picture of it by watching like the official channels. So why they all think they want to? What's the point? It's the same as a concert. Why are you paying to go to a concert and fucking film it? What's the point? But
The official channels don't pick up the atmosphere. I think that's what it is. It's this thing of being able to show. I'll be honest, when you guys scored that winner on Saturday, I've not heard a cheer that loud in a long time at our ground. Like, it was loud. I was quite shocked at how loud it was when it went in. You could tell how much it meant to your guys that
It's
you
huge.
actually, that you'd not played as well as you probably have in a lot of games this season, but you still came away with that win. And like I said earlier, that's the character that's going to get teams out of this league.
But if you reverse that, if you went to an away game and you got a last-minute winner like that, you'd go mental, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd have my phone out.
So on the question of infrastructure, then Ned, what do you think the most important thing is? Ben said about fix the day-to-day things and then put a roof on Stratton Bank.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking sort of atmosphere-wise, I mean, more sounds terrible, doesn't it? But it's, you need to have more, alcohol consumed on the property. You need more drinking, rather than coming down at blooming 30 minutes gone in the first half, and then queuing up for a drink that you might get before the end of half time. I mean, if you've got, lots of facility downstairs to cater for that many people, that's going to add to the atmosphere, and it's going to, obviously generate more revenue for the club as well. I have got extensive notes as to what I would do with the redevelopment. I'm not sure if you want me to have a little look at that, but
I'll tell you what. Why don't you rattle us off some headlines, and then we can always pick it up on a wider episode.
Okay. So the first thing I made note was the PA system in Don Rogers, because it's just the whole game. It's horrendous. It sounds like someone's left the gas tap on the on your Bunsen burner. It sounds it's like if anyone sparks up a fag in the toilet, my God, the whole place is going to go up. I think personally, most of the development be done in the Arkles, and that's the only sort of area where they've got enough space to, he was very adamant that hotel was one of the key things. So I think most of the development has to be in the Arkles, because if they want to redo all of their like the, what's it called, like the match day, executive sort of stuff. What's that called?
Hospitality.
Yeah. Hospitality. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you very much. So if we want to sort of bring in the big bucks, you got to have, excellent hospitality, because then, people will be, there will never be any vacancies for hospitality. I've put down that I would move the car park to where the fence is of the cricket club, where there's a walkway through. I would put a car park in there and then move the town end back, essentially as back as we can possibly go. Maybe sort of eating up half of the car park. I would, maybe treble the size of the town end, capacity wise, and then just.
Problem is, you've got to fill it then, haven't you?
Well, you have got to fill it, but it's just take into consideration the acoustics, everything else, because
That's shocking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you want an atmosphere, you need to sort of take those kinds of things into consideration. I know that obviously it will be a cost thing at the end of the day, but if you've got the acoustics, then even if you're not filling up that stand, it's still gonna sound loud, if that makes any sense.
What do you charge for season tickets, guys?
Mine costs $350.
Wow, that's a lot.
Mm.
That would help though, for what you've said there. You extend the obviously you need to fill it. Half your season ticket price and get double the amount in. They've made the same amount of money off season tickets, but they're also going to make They're going to make double on match days from people spending in the ground, and it's going to help your atmosphere. That's what we did.
Yep.
We were getting 7,000-8,000 in League One. We got relegated. We put our season tickets down to £150. We got 15,000. That's what we do.
Makes sense, but no other chairman does it. No other chairman. That they rinse us. Even Clem, we love Clem, but he rinsed us when we played Man City. It cost my 12-year-old. Guess how much it cost him to watch Man City? £28.
Yeah, it's not good.
That
would solve your issue. That would solve your issue with filling the stand. If you're paying at £350 for a season ticket, or you get what we did, we didn't reduce ours first. We did buy one get one free for the first season, and that got the people through the door. And then at that point, they renewed. We halved the season ticket prices. They renewed. That would help you get that atmosphere. It would help you fill that stand. But I think your thing is you've got to fill what you've got currently before you expand upon it.
Christian's going for kebab.
Kebab, yeah. But you wouldn't even need to halve it, because we're getting 10,000 and the ground can only hold like 14.5. So it's that extra 4,000 we need to do. So even if you just slashed it by about
knock 100
quid, 100 quid off, you fill it every week.
Knock 100 quid off, or we used to do kids. Yeah, if you bought an adult season ticket, the kid one were free.
Yeah, well, Freddie's one cost £1. Well, it cost 30 quid, but yeah.
Things like that, and yeah. But no, I agree. Like when you said that about expanding the stands, that's you've got to have the fans. But it was interesting to find out what you charge on season tickets. You charge quite a lot for League Two, or what I think it's quite a lot. But I think I'm probably just a bit privileged with what we pay.
That price has been frozen for years as well. So it's been like that for a while. It's not a steady rise. It's a frozen price.
We got asked if we'd like ours to go up, and they said, look, would you like to pay more next season, and we'll give it'll go towards the transfer budget. And people were like, yeah, we'll pay a tenner more, and that were it. So it went up by a tenner or something like that. It was like the good thing. Our previous chairman Mark Lawn came in, and that was the first thing he did. He was like, we've got this 25,000 seater stadium. I want it as full as I can. So he reduced season ticket. Well, he gave the buy one get one frees and whatnot. But you need to do something like that. Your chairman needs to look at the overall money off of it. If it's half the price and you get double the season ticket, or if it's 100 quid less and you get 4,000 extra, you'll make more money over the season. He's showing his belly on things.
No, he's off again. He does that.
I mean, this goes into the whole thing about what I was saying earlier about getting people in early. Because if you can get the people in early, get them buying the food, get them buying the drink, and they continue to buy more throughout, then, if they have reduced the season ticket prices, then you get your money back anyway. So
exactly.
I just feel that football nowadays isn't, as I said with Christian before, it's not as an experience as much of an experience as it should be. It's just football, leave. You might stop halfway for a piss or a drink or chips or whatever, but if you make it an experience and you're there for instead of being there for 100 minutes, you're going to be there for maybe 180 minutes because you want to get something to eat because there's something nice on the menu, or have a few drinks with the people that you sit around with, have a good laugh before the game, and then be entertained with something else. Then I mean, it's a no-brainer. Get people in early. Get people to buy the merch. Get people to spend their money. I just think if we can sort of, put something on just to get people in there early, then we can then start to,
It's not price people out of the game.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I don't like getting to the ground early because I know that the longer I'm in that ground, the more expensive that day has become. And it's that simple.
True.
You know, I buy a beer's £4, which, you know, isn't too expensive, but it's not a nice beer. You know, the one thing I'll say is it's got better. Ryan Sparks, our CEO, has come in and he's big on commercial, and he's massively improved. Like a big sausage. That is a big sausage. But yeah, I think you've got to not price people out of the game, and I think at the minute we are all massively priced out of the game. I think you just have to budget to go to a game on a Saturday.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't now, but that's because of my ties and my connections of what I do. But if I wasn't in that situation, if I wasn't fortunate to do that, I wouldn't be going every game. I couldn't justify it.
Yeah.
Not when you're losing week in, week out as well. It didn't used to matter when you were losing because the atmosphere was great.
Hmm.
You have a
You're
laugh.
enjoying it.
Yeah, you enjoy. I watched. We had Colin Todd as a manager, and he was absolutely dreadful. I watched.
Same. Yeah, he was shit at us as well.
Oh, did you? Oh, you had him as well.
We had
Oh,
him in the championship. It was fucking awful.
Yeah, like I watched
He
Colin
walked
Todd.
out on us after half of the season.
Oh, we had him 2.5 years.
Ooh.
Yeah, he took us down. Well, he got sacked halfway through the third season when we got relegated from League
I
One.
think he brought his kid with him as well, didn't he, Colin Todd? What was his name?
Andy Todd.
Andy Todd. Yeah, he was a psychopath.
Played for us and all.
Oh, did he? Three.
Gents, I'm conscious
He
of
brought
the,
Andy King to something, and he was an awful manager.
Who's that? He's muted again.
he's
He's
muted
muted.
himself.
Muted.
Yeah.
That's probably best.
We can have Stuart McCall, you guys next.
Yeah, oh, no.
No.
You John Sheridan.
Anyway, gents,
I'll raise you John Sheridan.
I'm conscious of the time, and we still have this week's fixtures to preview. So just a quick word, quickly touch on the women's football at STFC. The regular viewers will notice that once again, Woody is missing in action. He has sent in a little report for me, but as this is becoming a current occurrence, I would like hashtag Where's Woody to start trending if you can, and just start giving us imaginary places that you might find him while he's too busy to turn up and do this. So whether you think you've seen him in the aisles at Lidl, whether you think you've seen him at the Kassam, whether you think you've seen him on a bus somewhere, I want to know where's Woody. But he did send a little report in. His team lost. Fuck football, it sucks, is what his report says. And then he went on to say, the development team won 3-1 and they're still top of their league, so congratulations to them. There was no first team game and there's no senior games this weekend at all. Just his under 16s team, who will hopefully be continuing their title charge against Marlborough. So good luck to Woody's under 16s against Marlborough.
Liam, if you didn't know, Woody was Swindon's biggest signing in July because he's in charge of the Swindon Town ladies under 16s team. And he was our only signing in July since the club was going up.
The only one you were allowed to make.
Yeah, no, it was. You get the
He got the scarf at the
website
ground.
with
And
a scarf over
The
his
biggest biggest signing by default. Like he
it was official signing and everything. The club website, brilliant.
Oh.
Love that moment of fame.
So this week, we've got Exeter away, and then we've got the game that no one's been looking forward to, really, Oldham at home. Now, I don't want to bring up bad tidings, Liam, but you've played both of these sides in the not too distant past and lost to both of these sides. So before I ask Ben and Ned and Christian if he's finished being otherwise engaged, what their thoughts are, what can we expect from these two? I know you had quite an interesting view before we started recording on which of the two sides might cause the tougher test.
Yeah, I stand by it. I think based on what I've seen, we've played Exeter 5 times this season. We played them twice in the league. We played them in the FA Cup at home. We drew. We played them away. They brought on a 6th substitute, and we had to go back down and play them again. Oldham are going to be a bigger threat for you than Exeter are. Oldham are playing some very, very nice football at the minute. They lost on Saturday to Carlisle to a last-minute goal.
Everyone beats Carlisle, though.
Everyone, yeah.
If we say that, we can't think of a team that's beaten recently. It's a problem.
We are
But
3-0.
We did.
We sacked their manager. Go on, McCurdy. Clapping all four sides. As
Well,
you
thanks
booed
for
off.
that. Thanks
Love
for
it.
that, because now they've gone on a blinding run and they're going to turn us over at last game of the season. But no, I think Exeter. I think Exeter and you guys will be close, but I think Oldham will be a tough one. You've got the John Sheridan side of things as well for you guys. You've got that you've got to deal with, but I think they're going to be ready for that game. At this stage they've got nothing to lose. They are. It's kind of out of their hands. We've said this on our podcast. Oldham can obviously win as many games as they want, but unless the teams above them slip up, it makes no difference. So, Oldham are going to come all guns blazing at you. And we played them at the beginning of the season, and they were terrible. Played them a few weeks ago, and they were phenomenal. And we didn't give them the credit they deserve because we played bad. We were very, very bad. But every time Andy Cook got the ball, they have 3 men on him. Like, they were so organised. So they'll find McCurdy. They will put 3 men on McCurdy. Every time he gets the ball, he'll be surrounded. I think he'll struggle. Watch him score a hat trick now. But
Hopefully.
yeah, I think the wheels are going to come off for Sheridan at some stage. I think Saturday was just a blip. I don't think that'll be the game where the wheels come off for him. But yeah, I think out of the two, you'll not like the Oldham game.
Okay.
In comparison.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. So let's briefly then look at tomorrow first, Ben. Exeter, always a difficult game.
Well, it's made a little bit harder because, as Liam just said about McCurdy, unfortunately, McCurdy is suspended for the next 2 games thanks to his booking on Saturday. That was his 10th booking, so he misses.
Serves him right,
and he misses that. He misses he misses big game Tuesday and the game on Saturday. It's gonna be tough with all the injuries that we've got and the suspensions. So it's going to have to be another rejig of formation. We're going to have to bring Baldry back to start, possibly Conroy as well, depending how injured Odi Ademayo is. We can just have a little bit of a rejig. Is it worth starting Jack Payne? He's such a player, but is it worth risking him? I think maybe just give him a longer stint in the second half rather than start him. So it's going to be quite a weak starting lineup. We don't have any natural winger. If we pull Ian Dollo into the left wing back out of,
he's been playing so well.
Playing so well in midfield. So who do you stick? Because we've now got 1 fullback. We really need to sign this Egbo. So we're actually, this is a horrible time. I really could do with Tuesday off because of the injuries we've got at the minute, and we're a bit short on our striking options. We've got Williams. I think we'll go with 2 up front. Williams is number 10, number 1, Davison up front, and we'll go back to 5-3-2, and we'll have to start the 3 midfield and just pack the defence and hope we nick 1.
Are you going to go with your head or your heart? Win, draw, or loss?
I think we'll lose 3-0.
Wow.
I think we'll get undone.
I was just checking because obviously I just wanted to have some form of knowledge before speaking. But the last time, bar the last game, the last time they lost was New Year's Day, which doesn't bode well. We're so short on talent in the league. That is, we're so short on talent, and if we're playing Jaden Mitchell-Lawson up front, then that tells you everything you need to know about us scoring against Exeter. I think the best we can hope for is possibly a draw, maybe a 1-1 draw, maybe an own goal.
Guys, I'm not liking all this negativity. Christian, can you be the positive one and tell me reasons why we could win tomorrow?
As long as you tell me there's no reason why Johnny Williams can't play tomorrow and Saturday. Is he suspended or is he got?
No, Johnny Williams can play. He
Williams
just doesn't play 2 games in a week because he's Johnny Williams.
I'm not being funny, but he's going to have to fucking play 2 games in a week, isn't he? He's not. We've had Michael Doughty. Michael Doughty, I'll play when I want or train when I want.
But it's not. It's medical is the reason. If he breaks down, he's out for a month. Then we're fucked.
Why is he going to break down?
Because he's got a history of breaking down.
Yeah, but
Well,
I'm sure he could play 2 games
That's
in a
why
week
he's. But
once.
no, he can do, but not like you can't keep doing it because he will break down again. That's why he's playing League Two football now, is because he's injury prone. If he wasn't injury prone, he wouldn't be in this league. We all know.
And
that.
don't forget, it's 3 games in a week as well.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not
3 games in a
not
week.
2
Sorry,
games.
3 games in a week. So you're looking like 270 minutes. You're looking for him to do. I bet you he breaks down within that period at some point.
So they do
It's
fitness
just going to
tests
do it.
before you sign. They don't do fitness tests before you sign. or-
He doesn't. Yeah, he plays. You know what? All season, he's played either 60 minutes or he's come on for the last 30. He's done that all season. He's played
Right.
odd 90 minutes. He's played the odd 90 minutes, and when he's played 90 minutes, he's not played at all the following game at all, and that he's been managed. And because of that, he's not had a long-term injury. If you start flogging him at the most important time of the season, at the start of the run-in, we're about to go into the run-in, and he gets injured, one of our best attacking players, when we got all these other injuries. Stupid.
Yeah, but needs must. If you haven't got McCurdy, he's going to have to step up for 2 games.
No, he's got to step up.
And then when
but
McCurdy
we've got to manage it.
comes back, he can sit and do fuck all for a game. He can have a game off, do what he wants to do. But I think the next 2 games you're going to have to. I mean, that's simple, right? So I didn't realise McCurdy was suspended. I've been working this weekend and I've not even been able to bloody follow the football. It's been a nightmare, to be honest with you. I've really missed it, and I didn't realise McCurdy was suspended. So I was going to say it's a 4-point week, but I don't know where the draw and where the win's coming from. Based on McCurdy being out, as much as I don't like the silly little boy, it's a 2-point week. It's 2 draws. We're going to draw 2 games.
Okay. So no, I led you in with the question, can you be the positive one? The short answer was no.
No. Liam, 6 to win for us, will you, mate?
I'm going to have to say we'll win, just so that one of the Swindon fans says we're going to win, aren't I? Even if I don't necessarily believe it myself, I'm going to have to say that we will win 2-1, just because none of you gave us better than a draw. So we will win 2-1 against Exeter, and that's all that
I think you'll win.
Thank you, Liam.
I saw enough signs. I think you'll win.
We've been to Forest Green, though, haven't we, with a team of bloody misfits and won there.
Yeah.
So
and that was on the telly in front of hundreds of people.
And lads, when we predict a loss or a draw and we're all negative, it always goes the other way. So
that's something else. We're notoriously bad at predicting.
So we on ours, every time we started our podcast and said Oldham are down. Oldham went on a blinding run and got out. Then we said Carlisle are down. Carlisle have gone on 3 on bounce and they're out. So now I'm saying Oldham are down because I don't want Oldham to go down. So I'm sticking with Oldham are down so that they just prove me wrong. And Bradford aren't going to make the playoffs.
Well, let's talk Oldham then, Ben. And it's been a subject that's we've been trying to skirt around since he got the job, but the game's finally on the horizon. I'm just hoping the fans behave themselves, really. I mean, there was a bit of banter about what could happen, but I genuinely believe it would not surprise me in the slightest if there was a couple of hundred inflatable dinosaurs there.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be. I think the GWS are planning, GWS, where did I get that from? GWR are planning some TIFO and blow up dinosaurs to blow up. And I know it's the red and blue or whatever it is. They've got it. Well, they've invited a load of people anyway, giving away tickets to a load of the social services people and police and hospitals and all that. So it's going to be red hot. There's going to be loads of people paying. That little bit behind the dugouts is going to be rammed full of fans just giving pelters to Sheridan. Like from start to finish. He's going to love it, by the way, because
he'll love it.
He'll absolutely love it, by the way, because the whole thing is going to be aimed, because all last season, the fans didn't have any opportunity to vent at the absolute shite we went through last season. So this is our opportunity. So it is written, they shit us 1-0, Callum Hope, who played for us last season, to nip it. But I'm still confident that someone will come back fully fit, that say like, maybe Louis Barry or someone will come in. And I still stand by Oldham is shit. They got shit players and they just got momentum at the moment. And even though Sheridan can only take them so far, and they come up stuck in a 6-pointer against Carlisle, and hopefully that's it for them and they do some stupid things. They've got the players like Callum Hope, he's average, he's terrible. He played for us last season. Who's that midfielder as well they've got who played for us last year? I've forgotten his name, he's so rubbish. But he's rubbish, and they've got rubbish players and they're going to get relegated because Sheridan's a twat.
Do you feel better for that?
He's been holding that in for a long time, hasn't he? He's been holding, and you could sense the anger there.
Don't like John Sheridan. Sorry, no.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Ned, what's your thoughts on the game?
Sake. Oh, it's going to get blue now, guys. If he starts playing nice football, it's going to really
after
piss
last
me off.
Season's dirty,
it was
filthy,
so shit. It
horrible.
was so shit.
Hoof it up to Brett Pittman to run like a chicken and try and chase it.
And he's fat. He can't run. It's just
one-dimensional.
Can I just
all the players saying about how he was tactically inept and didn't tell the players what they're supposed to be doing, and no one goes on the pitch knowing what they're supposed to do. To go from that to to fucking John Sheridan winning games now. Oh, he's playing the best football. Fuck off.
Players are always going to do that
last year, you cunt.
Yeah,
honestly, but that you've just said, players are always going to do that. They're always going to blame the outgoing manager. It doesn't matter. He might have been doing everything right. They're going to blame it because they're the ones that have got to stay.
John Sheridan. Sorry, I get to tell you. Who was our previous manager before them? Wellens had us playing Wellens ball at the time, high press, ball on the floor, really good, interesting football, right? And then I know football was good, and TK hated it. Now John Sheridan, shouty, angry hoof business, right? I know you've got the players to technically really good football. I'm going to change all that, and we're going to play hoof long ball. We're just going to hoof it down to Helen Hope. We're going to hoof it to Pittman. And he's going to hold it, and then you're just going to work off that. And that's the way we're going to play. I'm going to give back our best little player from Arsenal. We're just going to send him back. Even though he's the most creative player that we've got, we're just going to give him back to Arsenal. They're not going to ask him. We're just going to send him back, even though he's our best player. And all the players we're going to buy, we're going to sign a player in January, and he's going to leave the same month because the ground is so toxic. We're going to sign a goalkeeper who's going to beg his own club to take him back and fake an injury for their goalkeeper because the club is so toxic, thanks to Toxic John.
So I just want to, as I'm the only one here, with the exception of Liam, who's probably, I'm sure, really enjoying this.
I love seeing other fans getting at each other. It's just nice to not be on the receiving end.
I just want to point out in response to something you said, Ben. That really shit midfielder whose name you can't remember, I have put in the chat. It was Missalou is the name you're looking for.
The blonde we got from Northampton kicked out, rejected from Northampton. And so we picked him up.
If you could just take a moment and get off that high horse of yours, Ben. It was actually Ned who was telling us his thoughts.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Ned. Ned.
It's all right.
Ned, I'm going to shut up now. I'm sorry, Ned. Stage is yours, fella.
Ned had got himself all amped up. He just started, and then Ben went, "Yes, it's shit."
Ned, I am so sorry, brother. You crack on.
That's all right. Ben's missus going crazy in the background there. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Right, so I agree mostly with what Ben said about the players.
You don't dare not.
Yeah, I know. Stay away. I do like, and I said this last time when we played them, I do like that Kuto, their right back, young right back. I thought he was decent. He's going to have a bright future, and hopefully we'll get him off him when they get relegated. Sorry, Liam. But I like you know, when he's playing well, that Bambula, I really like him as well. But he's been off the boil. I'm not sure how he's been playing in the last few. Liam, has he been all right in the last few, or was he not?
He was out injured. He was out injured against us. As far as I remember, he was out injured because they had a couple out injured, and they still put in a. This was the thing. They still put in a very, very nice performance.
And the centre back as well. What's his name? Piagiani. I really like him as well. I think he's a decent centre back, and we should get him as well.
What worries me slightly, and I don't mean this to sound in any way disrespectful, Ned, but given that you're like adopted our chief scout role of the pod, and you're recommending all the defenders for a team that we're saying could get relegated.
Yeah.
No, but their right back's decent, and their centre back's decent. You know, one of their centre backs decent.
Their goalkeeper must be fucking dreadful.
Yeah, the rest of their team is shit. Fucking rubbish, right? and they got a shit manager.
They've conceded 51 goals this season, and you're cherry picking their defence to help you next year.
Honestly, you know, when you watch, you know, they certainly when we played them and I watched them before we played them, Piagiani, he wins everything in the air, but
the problem is
just
everyone runs around him.
He's just let down by everyone else around him. But
everyone's played the ball on the floor. That's the problem.
He's got no legs.
Yeah.
But banner aside, they're shit. We'll win. I don't. Form goes out the window for this one. We
It's
just
not a
want
derby.
No,
It
no,
feels
but
like one, though, doesn't it?
It really does.
It
It
feels
really
like
does
one.
feel like a
You
derby.
can tell that you guys are more passionate about this game coming up than you were going into ours. You know, you guys were on the city event last week, and you weren't this passionate about coming up to play us as you are about this game coming up. You can tell that there's a lot of anger and animosity, and like you say, you didn't have the chance to vent that last season. We didn't have that with McCall. McCall had us 23rd in League Two and got sacked, so we didn't have the chance to
tell him
that.
If someone said to you
here's
that,
the thing that some of our fans still wanted him back this time as well. So,
do you know what I mean? If someone said, "Oh, McCall's gone to Leeds and they've started to win their first 6 games or whatever it is,"
You
yes,
done
but
did
again,
see.
let's.
you're like, "Pit off."
I get the point, but it's not like he's gone to Oxford or he replaced Joey Barton at Bristol Rovers and he's doing it. He's gone to. We don't care about Oldham really. We're only caring because it's him.
If McCall went to Leeds and did that, I'd be laughing because I'd know what was coming. He once won 6 games for us. Yeah, McCall took us. We went unbeaten at home an entire season under McCall, and he's still the worst manager I've ever seen at Bradford City.
Wow.
He's not a manager; he's a coach.
Did you have Paul Jewell as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Paul Jewell. Paul
Jewell took us to the Premier League.
Yeah, Paul Jewell was quite good, didn't he?
Yeah, what I was saying earlier, no hungry, no passion for it anymore. Phil Brown.
There you go.
Paul Jewell lives 10 minutes away from our ground. He's a local lad. He's very, very. He lives right near our ground. Yeah.
He's Christian, our ex-chairman, who's a crook.
He was.
Christian, do you know who the manager was before Paul Jewell?
For who?
Yeah, for us.
Yeah, for Bradford.
This is a bit of knowledge. Obviously, you know, but see, the others know. Yeah.
Cammy.
Yeah, it was Cammy. They won the second division playoffs as well with him. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Cammy.
I think he walked away from it all, didn't he? I think he lost his job, which was unfair or something, and then he went into media and never went back.
He's just announced he's leaving Sky Sports Soccer Saturday, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
They're all leaving out there. They're all leaving.
I mean, I would love to have heard him in the changing room. Yeah, I would love to hear him in the changing room. My God, you know, just like rambling and stuff.
I don't reckon he ever got given the Bradford job. I just think he turned up at the wrong place one day and just no one dared say no to him, and he stayed.
Ben, before I let CK have his say on the Oldham game, is there anything you want to add now that Ned's finished?
I've calmed down a bit now. I just got up. My prediction anyway is 2-0 Swindon.
Ned?
I'm not sure where the goals are coming from, but 2-1. 2-1. We'll beat them.
Okay. Christian, what are you thinking for game on Saturday?
honestly, I don't know, Fifey. I really don't know, and that's why I've said 2 points from the 2 games. It's going to be a draw, isn't it? Depends what town team we see. To be honest with you, sometimes they're up for it. We've seen them up for it. Who we beat 5-0?
Walsall beat for Forest Green and then Tranmere, and they got stuffed by 5 by us.
Yeah, under a new manager, and they're doing really well because they got rid of that bloody 1 season chap we had, wasn't it? Matty Taylor, he was their manager, weren't he?
Beat Hartlepool as well since of Walsall. You guys were the blip for them.
Yeah, but we can go out and play like that with no shackles on, or we can be what we have been for about 3 or 4 years, which is absolutely fucking dire at home. even the season, Liam, the season we won the league,
with the asterisks,
it was only bloody 4th division, but the season where we won the league, we were crap at home then as well. We were still capable of losing. I think just before the league shut down and they just gave it us by default, didn't we lose 3-1 or 3-0 at home to Forest Green or something? That was our last game.
Yeah, we lost last game 2-0 Forest Green, but we were top for 4 months straight. To be fair,
this league is just it's a trash league. Yeah. It really is a trash league.
It is awful. It is awful.
Mate, can I come and join your podcast instead of this one, mate?
To be fair, what you've said there, you said earlier you don't count League Two, getting promotion in League Two as a thing. If you don't count that, you guys ain't achieved anything since 1999 because you've been in League One and League Two, and you obviously haven't gone above it since. You might want to start counting League Two because it doesn't look like you're getting anything else anytime soon.
I never will, mate. I never will.
So I'll take a League Two win. I'll take it. I've never seen us win a league.
So I live Leicestershire, Liam, and obviously shove me, Christian. So I live Leicester, and obviously I've been up here many years now. I was up here the year they won the Premier League and stuff, and we have this conversation a lot, and they talk about club v country debates, and Leicester fans, did they want to go and win the Champions League next, or are they happy with Europa League? And now they talk about Brendan Rodgers, what sort of. I'm like, you think you've got problems? I've never even seen my team play in the Championship. Yeah, but never mind the Champions League.
Right. So this was the thing when when Fergie left United and David Moyes came in. Halfway through that season, there was a Man United fan in China that was on suicide watch because and do you know what we did that season? He was on suicide watch because they were, I think, 8th in the league. We lost 5-0 in a Capital One Cup final and released a DVD on an open top bus tour. We lost 5-0. He thinks he's got it, but we lost 5-0 and people were like, "Oh, well, you're not embarrassed?" Like, no, was I yet? We shouldn't have been there. we got a nosebleed.
Tremendous effort, though. It was blinding. I was cheering you on when you smashed Chelsea as well. It's like
Chelsea, the Mourinho, like. The thing is, he set that up for us. Mourinho did because in the day before in his press conference, they said to him, "What'll happen if you lose?" He said, "It'll be a disgrace if I lose this game," and that was our team talk done.
Yeah.
But for me, Phil Parkinson is obviously at Wrexham now. People talk about Paul Jewell because he took us to the Premier League. Paul Jewell had Premier League money. Phil Parkinson had a League Two budget, and what he did in the League Two, for me, best manager we've ever had. I think he's phenomenal.
Well, Liam, I'll leave the final thoughts for this episode with you. You've been very generous with your time to stay on and discuss a variety of topics. We've spoken about our views for our 2 games this week. Let us know just an overview. What are you thinking for your next? Is Forest Green next? Do you have a midweek game?
Yep. No midweek game. Forest Green on Saturday. Forest Green for me are in a blip at the minute. I think it would be just like us to go from the run we've been on and turn over Forest Green on Saturday. They couldn't beat us earlier in the season. I think we drew 1-1 or 2-2, and we were the better team on the day. So I think we'll beat them. We've got Hartlepool next Tuesday. That will be a draw, purely because the other lad who does the podcast with me is a Hartlepool fan. We're going up for 3 days. I'm not seeing my team beat Hartlepool this season. I assure you of that because I'm just not lucky enough.
The monkey hangers.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you very much again for your time, and to you, Jed. If anyone watching or listening to this gets the chance, check out Lower League Look. That's Liam's podcast as well. They've got some. He was telling us before we start recording. They've got some plans for the rest of this year and moving forward. It'll be an entertaining watch and listen. But Ben, Ned, Christian, thank you as always for your time. And until next time, it's goodbye from us.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, Liam.
Bye, guys. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.